Welcome to Xroadsnetworks. My name is Eddie, and I'm going to walk you through your site-to-site configuration. I'm going to create two site-to-site tunnels. One is going to be my primary, which I'm going to connect to my WAN 1, and I'm going to create a backup to that primary on my WAN 2. In order to do so, you're going to go to the Site2Site tab up top. As you see, I don't have any tunnels created, so you're going to go to the Add Tunnel button on the left. Once your page refreshes, first thing we're going to do is create the tunnel name. And we're going to select the tunnel ID. The first one is the internal session number. We're going to go with 1. The second fillable number is going to determine the external port it uses. And this is going to be our primary tunnel type. The weight, we'll leave it at 100. Site-to-site bonding, we're going to leave disabled. You'll enable this if you're going to have more than one active tunnels in order to perform bonding between the two tunnels. For data compression, we're going to enable this. We're going to leave it at level 1 for this example. Data compression is most useful when your end users are transferring large files that are not already pre-compressed. And then for the shared secret key, this needs to be identical on both sides. So try to remember what you enter here, and it does have to be 16 characters long. For the encryption type, you have the option to leave no encryption or encryption enabled. Then the WAN interface, we're going to attach this tunnel to the WAN 1 interface since it's our primary. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom. Then we need to enter the remote edge device. This is going to be the WAN address of your client-side network. And for the second remote network address, this is where you're going to enter the LAN network address of your client side. Hit this drop down to select the proper subnet mask. And ensure that you select the proper radio for a client or hub side. We are creating our hub, so we're going to hit the hub side for this one. And the on failure option, there's only an added WAN testing service. You would only enable this if you were to be creating this as a backup tunnel. And the way you choose for when this tunnel would become active would be by either providing a probe address from the other network, or if the WAN 1 interface was to go down. But in most cases, you're going to leave this disabled. We're going to go down and hit the Add Update button to create our tunnel. Once your page refreshes, you should see your tunnel has now been created. As you see, the state is currently disabled. I'm not going to start the service until I have the backup created. So now in order to create the backup, we're going to return to the Add Tunnel button. And we're going to follow the same steps. And for the tunnel ID, you're going to want to use a different session number, that of which you used for your primary. Keep in mind this fillable tunnel ID number is the one that needs to be identical on both sides of the tunnel. Now we're going to go back to the tunnel type and select the backup radio button. And from the drop down, we're going to select the primary tunnel that we want to attach this to. For the weight, we're going to leave it 100. Site-to-site bonding, as I explained before, we're going to leave that disabled. Data compression, I'm going to go ahead and enable this to level 1 as well. The shared secret key, again, this has to be 16 characters long and matching on each side of the site-to-site tunnel. We're going to enable encryption for the backup. We're going to attach this backup to the WAN 2 interface. So on the WAN interface option, you're going to want to hit WAN 2 and scroll all the way to the bottom. For the remote edge backup device, I'm going to actually connect it to the WAN 2 interface of my client-side network. And for the LAN, it's going to be the same as I set up on my primary. Remember the subnet mask, and ensure that you select hub side for the client or hub option. And for the on failure method, we're going to leave this disabled since we already selected the tunnel type for this to be a backup for the active tunnel. So we're going to continue on and hit the Add Update button. Alright, now your page is refreshed. You should see the two tunnels that you've created. As you see, I have the WAN port to my interface 1, and then my backup tunnel is coming out of my interface 2, and this is the hub side. Go ahead and check everything, and the state is still disabled. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and select the primary one first and start that service. Once your primary changes to the enabled state, we're going to go back and select the backup tunnel and then hit the start button as well. Now we have both of our hub tunnels enabled. And remember the order that you went. We started the primary first, and then we started the backup second. We need to go to our client device and create the client-side networks. So when we create our client, we're going to start the primary client first and the backup client second. So we're going to create the primary client side to the WAN 1 and the backup client side to the WAN 2. So we need to return to the Site2Site tab, go to the Add Tunnel button, create the tunnel name. We're going to follow the same steps as we did when we created our hub side tunnels. Now that we've created both of our client-side tunnels, first we need to activate the primary client. So select the radio and hit Start button. Now that our primary has been enabled, we're going to enable the backup. So select the radio for the backup and hit Start. Now that you've started all of the services and you started the hub side first, you see the primary tunnel will have a state of enabled and the activated after a couple of seconds, which changes to a yes, and a status will change to an up. If your attempt is not successful, please ensure that all of your settings are correct and your session IDs do match. Remember, for the tunnel ID number, the first dropdown can be different. However, the second fillable number, which I made a 1, has to be identical on both sides of the tunnel. Always remember, whenever making changes to your system, turning to the home page to save all of your changes to system configuration. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed the site-to-site walkthrough. For more how-to guides and documentation, please visit our website at Xroadsnetworks.com.